Hey players, Preaza here, and welcome to part 2 of my Onepiece Kaizoku Musou series. In this part I'll be showing you how I make my maps and how the game sets up in general. So without further ado, let's get on with this. I'll start by copying Alvida map and placing it in my camera. Normally how I make the map, because it's in my camera now, but that's not how I normally make it, because that would be tricky to move things around. And because you can't highlight things with the resize tool and many other things with the when the parts are inside your camera, so it's a lot more effective to have them in workspace. So what I do is I start by adding parts to workspace, placing them usually on a fundamental block. Like for Alvida map, I started with the hull of the ship, the very bottom of the hull actually, which is down here. And for the buggy map, I started with the main bulk of the floor and the docks, because of course with any foundation you start at the bottom and work your way up. And then after the map was done, or I had the base version 1 of the map done, I would highlight it all, press Ctrl G or edit group to make it into model, and then I would rename the model the main antagonist name plus arc, and that would be it. And to adjust it later on, all I would need to do was copy the map into my camera, press Ctrl G, into workspace, press Ctrl U to ungroup it, and then I can mess around with the individual parts and then regroup it and rename it and put it into lighting again. It sounds like a complicated process, but once you get used to it, it's actually quite easy. So yeah, the way I designed the ship was I decided immediately from this perspective that I wanted a hull. So I started by basing the ship around the hull, not really caring much about the rest of it. It looked like a cargo ship at first before I added the minute details, but the barrels I added afterwards. This is where you start off in this battle, and you meet Kobe here, who's a protagonist in this arc and the start of the second arc. And then after a cutscene plays, you go up here. This trap door moves along, and I just want to show you that I actually named this trap door. You might notice that a lot of these parts don't have names. Most of them are called part, yet some of them are called like Luffy boss spawn, L barrel, boss spawn. Most of these with names except barrels are named differently, because I use them to teleport things to specific places, and because it's easier than trying to do it manually from guessing the positions and C-frames later on. Or you could just have it in the map in the first place. If it's an NPC, it's probably better just to have the NPC inside the map in the first place, but I won't go into too much detail on specific things, so yeah, let's leave it at that. When the player first spawns, they get taken to a spawn room up in the sky, which is invisible, with about 50 spawns in it. I'm pretty proud of that spawn room actually, because I don't build very much. But then it takes a play GUI from the lighting folder and does a lot of loading, well, a few loading lines which wait until your player GUI folder and your health GUI have loaded so that it can remove it, because it doesn't load instantly, but it needs to be removed regardless. So these repeat loops will wait until it, well, this isn't a scripting tutorial, so I shouldn't go on too much about how repeat loops work, but anyway, the play GUI. The play GUI isn't actually important, it just shows a picture. I'll put it in starter GUI so you can see it, as that is how you make GUI in edit modes. It isn't very important. All it does is show you an image of Luffy and Kaizoku Musou, and I've placed an image button over a play button which I'd already added with Paint.net by copying the Roblox play button, placing it over the Kaizoku Musou logo, and then placing an invisible image button over it to give the effect that it was part of the same thing, but it isn't actually. All this does is remove itself basically and give you the arc chooser GUI. So this is because having the arc chooser GUI from the first screen seemed a little odd. So yeah, the arc chooser GUI is where all the magic happens. It starts immediately at the Alvida arc, so you can see why I wouldn't want, just going to remove this Alvida map, I wouldn't want this to be the first screen you see when you enter the game, because it doesn't look very good. Also, when you get a game over by like falling off the map or dying, you instantly go back to the starting screen with Luffy. So yeah, when the player clicks this chapter 1 sign, it cycles through the arc, so I should probably go into the testing mode now, because I've shown all that's really needed to be shown in edit mode, because I make the maps in edit mode but I do most of the work in build mode because I can test it instantly, but rarely I do the scripting in edit mode and I go into tools test, but I generally like to do the building in edit mode and the scripting in build mode, like a lot of scripters presumably, because edit mode's better for building, and because you don't want to run around as you place the blocks, very inefficient. Loading any second now, hopefully. There we go. Yeah, when the player presses the chapter 1 button, it goes to chapter 2, then chapter 3 and back to chapter 1. When they click the picture, they play the game. I was worried it wouldn't be obvious that this changes the chapter and this plays the chapter, but people figured it out without any problem. Even after about 50 tests, nobody was confused. So that's fan-dabba-dozy. The text button is what changes the arc scripts and the text to chapter 2, chapter 3, so it's all in the same GUI. I just check if the text is chapter 1, chapter 2 or chapter 3 and set an arc variable accordingly. And if arc is 1, I set up set up Alvida arc with the image of Alvida as the main thingy here. I change the text of the text button to chapter 1. I change the background colour to slightly reddish pink colour. I disable Kuro and Buggy arc and enable Alvida arc. Although this system's inefficient, I rewrote this about 10 times I think. I'm not even joking. Because it kept having weird glitches where it would work perfectly the first time you spawned, but then if you reset nothing would work. And I ran into this problem in about half of the attempts I tried. I kept like making inefficient systems and remaking it, and I remade it a few times every arc so far, but now I'm settling with this system. There seems to be some problems with local scripts and local variables, so I've got a non-local script and I'm not using local variables, so yeah, this is why the system's so inefficient. And these are the scripts that are enabled and disabled accordingly when the player clicks this, and where all of the arc scripting goes. Thanks for watching, please tune into the next part of One Piece Kaizoku Musou.